Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, welcome back on this beautiful Monday morning. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We are the perfect cure for that Super Bowl hangover. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Who, me? Yes. All of that is true. And the man on the other microphone, he is known to be a great patriot, but he has never won a Super Bowl, and that would be...
Yeah, it's your boy Chris America coming to you live this Monday, February 4th, Super Bowl Monday, Box Day, whatever they call it. Loudbeard, I resent that statement. I have won plenty of Super Bowls on Madden, even one back in 2000 with a team known as the Orlando Warcats.
Impressive.
Yes.
Should I give you a trophy, or do you deserve a ring? What do we need to give you for this championship that you won?
Just no more snide comments about how I've never won a Super Bowl, please, sir. I take offense to that.
I'll think about it, but no guarantees here. No guarantees at all.
Well, Loudbeard, it was a Super Sunday, or was it, Loudbeard? Did you get the sense that this was the worst Super Bowl of all time?
Well, yeah. Me and 90% of America probably felt the same way, and as you were watching the Super Bowl, it seemed like it was lacking something. I don't know if it was offense or excitement or entertainment, but maybe all three. It was lacking all three, Chris America. There was definitely a lot left on the table with this game, and I'm sure all those Saints fans that were rallying in the streets protesting this Super Bowl because of that bad call, I'm sure all of them right now have plenty of ammunition to sit there and say, Drew Brees could have scored more than 3 points in a Super Bowl. And you know what, Chris America? Those Saints fans are probably right.
I don't know about that, Loudbeard. I want to sit here and say that, Jared Goff played bad. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback like Drew Brees is, but I can't put this one on Jared Goff, man. That dude had literally no time to do anything back in that pocket. It felt like as soon as he snapped the ball, there were one or two Patriot defenders on him right away. I think at one point I saw he had like 13 or 14 hurries, 8 knockdowns, and 4 sacks. That defensive line, that front seven, and Bill Belichick just drew up one of the best defensive schemes I've seen in a very long time in a Super Bowl. And, they gave the MVP to Julian Edelman, but I think you got to give it to every single member on that defensive line.
Yeah, the defensive line definitely helped out the Patriots, but you're right. The game planning, the coaching, it was very significant. You could see how well Bill Belichick had prepared for this game, how he was prepared for what weaknesses the Rams had, and he exploited every single one of those weaknesses. The Rams could not do anything offensively, and not that the Patriots lit the world on fire offensively. The Patriots had their own struggles also, but when you were looking at this game, the Rams sat there. They were 3 of 13 on third downs. They were never in situations for long drives. They struggled mightily on third down. The other part was they blitzed on like 50% of the plays. New England brought pressure to Jared Goff, and that's where the Rams struggled. And you're right, Goff had no time. And when he did have time, it's just the plays weren't happening. The team could not convert into anything substantial. The one score of the game is a 53-yard field goal for the Rams. I mean, that wasn't even that close of a field goal. I don't even, they couldn't even get into New England territory. And the other time that they did, Goff throws a really awful interception, which hurt that last drive or second to last drive there at the end of the game. So, I mean, I don't know if I got to give it all to the defensive line. I think the secondary for the Patriots played awesome. Stephon Gilmore, this guy is a legit number one cornerback in the league. He's really risen to the top. He was named as an all-pro as cornerback, and he showed last night why he is one of the best, if not the best cornerback in the league.
Yeah, definitely for sure, Loudbeard. And I'm sitting here, I'm trying to look at the Saints' previous scores, and we had mentioned that the Saints' offense kind of sputtered towards the end, and they didn't exactly light the world on fire throughout the playoffs, scoring only 21, 22 points a game. You know, they scored 20 against the Eagles and 23 in overtime against the Rams. I don't foresee that the Saints could have done any better than what the Rams did. And, you know, give credit to Wade Phillips, too. Like you mentioned, they held the Patriots to 13 points, and the Rams defense played lights out. There was no time for Brady. When Brady did have time, he had hardly any opens for wide receivers. And every time he threw a ball to a receiver, there was always a Rams defender right on the receiver, unless, of course, he was throwing it to Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman somehow, every other play, found an open spot in the field and was always wide open when he had the ball thrown his way.
Yeah, Edelman was unbelievable. And it seemed like when the ball went to Chris Hogan or the ball went to one of the other receivers, there was just nothing happening. But for some reason, Edelman could always make a play. He was getting open. He was the only receiver that seemed like he was making a difference for the Patriots. Hence, why he became MVP of the Super Bowl. But I do want to mention Chris America. I'm going to dig deep into my bag of tricks. I'm going to pull out some next-gen stats for you this morning. According to next-gen stats, Tom Brady only held the ball for 2.44 seconds per pass play. So he knew, and this is part of the game planning, the coaching, and the preparation done by the New England Patriots, he knew that if he held onto the ball for very long, Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh and Dante Fowler Jr. would be in his face. And that defensive line, they gave pressure to Brady, but Brady is the best in the business, and he could get the ball out in 2.44 seconds. Somebody else that's really good about getting the ball out quick, Chris America, is a Mr. Drew Brees. And I'm going to go back to that point that maybe the Saints could have scored a little bit more. I think right now, when you look back at this, Jared Goff, he's a good, young, up-and-coming talent in the NFL, but he lacks that experience, and he just lacks, I guess, that wherewithal to be able to withstand this awesome coaching plan by the Patriots, where I think Drew Brees can get the ball out quick. He can make faster decisions, and it's just from experience. So I do think that if the Saints were in there, the Saints would have fared a little bit better. But guess what, Chris America? The Saints weren't in there, and no matter how many people line the streets in New Orleans, nothing is going to change that. So we got to focus on what we saw last night, and that was the Rams versus the Patriots in the lowest scoring Super Bowl of all time. It was hard to watch.
I mean, think about what Bill Belichick did. He's twice now gone against the Rams, where the Rams came into the game as either the best offense or one of the best offenses in the league during that season, whether it was the greatest show on turf or these LA offensive players that, you know, just 3 months ago, whenever that Rams-Chiefs game was, where they scored a combined 100 points, and we're sitting here wondering, oh, defense is dead. There's no more defense in the NFL. Well, there is if you are a guy named Bill Belichick, and that is just what you do as your specialty. I would have never predicted that the Rams would have been held to 3 points in the Super Bowl. I would have never predicted the Rams would have been held to 3 points in any game. Even if it was a preseason game, I wouldn't have predicted a 3-point score for the Rams. And that's what Bill Belichick did, and that's what Bill Belichick usually does. Unless it's the New York Giants twice or the Philadelphia Eagles, Bill Belichick has come into the Super Bowl, and whatever you do best, Bill Belichick takes away and makes your life a living hell. So if Breeze was there, Bill Belichick would have figured out a way to make Breeze's life a living hell in that pocket, just like he did to Jared Goff.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Chris America. No matter what team came in there, the Patriots were going to be ready. But the Patriots, they aren't infallible. You know, last year when they came in and they were going up against the Eagles exploited the Patriots a little bit. So it's not like this was an impossible feat for the Rams. But I believed, and I'm probably going to speak for you and say that you believe that when we went into this game, we kind of knew the Patriots were going to win it. I said ahead of time, I want the Rams to win, but if I'm putting money on this game, I'm putting money on the Patriots because the Patriots are too clutch and they've got too much experience. And with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, there was always that feeling like the Rams were going to be outmatched. And when it came down to it, when it was on the field, when it was played out, it was by far a game where you could say that Brady and Belichick outmatched the Rams, specifically Belichick in this case, because Brady didn't really do anything that was extra special, that was out of the ordinary. He was pretty pedestrian when you look at it, when you look at stats and look what he ended up doing as a quarterback. Nothing special there, but what Belichick did as a schemer, as a game planner, what that defense did to come up with big plays at the right times, that to me was what was most impressive about this Super Bowl.
You know, Loudbeard, we missed a Who's Your Daddy thing, and I thought of this during the game. We should have done a Who's Your Daddy question of Wade Phillips versus Josh McDaniels. And that, to me, was a great chess match, seeing those two go at it. And then, you throw in Brady into that mix as to Who's Your Daddy, and that is the difference between what Josh McDaniels had to work with and what Sean McVay had to work with. Now, listen, Jared Goff is a really good quarterback. He's come a very long way since everybody was questioning whether or not he was going to be a bust under Jeff Fisher. Sean McVay as well. Look, these two guys are really young. We've talked about that a lot ad nauseum this whole season about how young McVay is for a coach. And Jared Goff is in, his third season. He's the youngest number one overall quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl. So the future's bright there for those guys. But what Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady were eventually able to do, and what makes those two a great duo, what makes Tom Brady the greatest of all time, is eventually they'll figure you out, and they'll get you to eventually give a little bit. And Tom Brady did that. And one of the things that impressed me about Tom Brady isn't the fact that he lit the world on fire and he threw for 500 yards and anything like he did last year, but he was just patient, and he took his time. You could tell he was a little frustrated, but each time he went back to the sideline, he looked at his Microsoft Window tablet, whatever it is they use now, and went through all the different plays. And eventually, on that one drive, he finally figured them out. He finally got them to loosen up. And the scoring drive that they had, they made it look easy, did they not, Loudbeard? It's like, where was this whole game?
Yeah, it did. They finally pulled it together. And they did. You know what? I kind of look back. This is kind of one of those situations where I look back and that Patriots offense looked so good against the Chargers, which the Chargers had a good defense a few games ago in the playoffs. And I look at this game and they looked anemic all the way through three quarters. But you're right there in the fourth quarter, when it mattered, when they got the ball, they had a beautiful drive that honestly won the game for them. And that's all it took. Now, this game was so close all the way through. All it took was one good drive from one of these teams, and it was the Patriots who ended up doing it. And Sony Michel, I've got to give that guy a ton of credit. He ran hard. Every time he got the ball, he was getting 4 or 5 yards. He helped keep the Patriots offense moving. He was a big part of that. Gronk making a big play when it counted. He had that 29-yard reception. That was the longest play of the entire games. Only 29-yard play, or a 29-yard play was the longest of the entire Super Bowl, which to me is crazy. But Gronk getting the big play when it mattered. He wasn't a big part of the game plan, but he was there just enough, had 4 or 5 catches, and that big reception there at the end. And that's what the Patriots offense is. Edelman getting a key third down conversion, Gronk getting a nice long pass play, Sony Michel running tough, running right into the end zone. That's exactly what that Patriots offense is, and they executed perfectly in that last drive for that one sole touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Now, we dissected ad nauseum last week or 2 weeks ago about the one play that the Saints needed to have back to win that game. There was a play, it wasn't a blown call, but it was a dropped pass, Loudbeard, that could have changed the complexion of this entire game. And that was a long bomb from Jared Goff all the way down to the goal line to, I believe it was Cook. And the defenders for the Patriots hit the receiver just perfect enough. But I still feel like the catch could have been made. And there was a drop right there at the goal line where if he hangs on to that football, that's a touchdown because they pushed him right into the end zone. It would have been a touchdown if he hung on to the football. And every single play matters in football, Loudbeard, especially in a game where it's that close. And it would have been interesting to see because Jared Goff did eventually get going towards the end of that game, and it was when the game was still in the hands of Jared Goff to win it or at least come back and tie it. I mean, he ended up with like 250 total passing yards, and Loudbeard, man, the next play, they applied the pressure. Bill Belichick gave the right amount of pressure for him to have to throw the ball up in the air, underthrows the pass because of the pressure, and it's picked off, and that was the end of the game. But, I mean, look, hats off to both of these teams. Was it a boring Super Bowl? Yeah, if you don't like defensive games, it was a boring Super Bowl. But if you're one of those old school, grind them out, I love good defenses, man, that was an exciting game if you love defenses. Because it's not like Tom Brady and Jared Goff were just off of their game and they just played bad. Those defenses just played lights out. So if you love defenses, then that's your thing. Then it was a great Super Bowl, I think. So I can't go full on, I'm going to hate on the Super Bowl because it was low scoring. It's just not a Super Bowl for me.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted. And you mentioned earlier about the league going to be this big offensive league, and there was no more defenses left. And that's what we felt in like week 7 and 6 of the regular season. But the defenses came through at the end of the year, and that's kind of what we see this pattern each and every year in the NFL is as the year progresses, defenses start figuring out these offenses and things become a little settled down. But I wasn't expecting this really, really low-scoring Super Bowl. And that Brandon Cooks catch that you mentioned, wow, that would have been a game-changing play for the Rams. If he would have caught that kick at the end of the game may have been for the win, even though it was missed by Greg Zuerlein at the very end of the game. But if you look back at that Brandon Cooks catch, that wasn't an easy catch. I'm not saying that he just easy catch dropsies because he was covered really well by that secondary of the New England Patriots, but he could have made that catch. That was a catchable ball, and I'm sure that's something that he's going to wake up with this morning and just sit there and just dwell over that. But it's what happens in football. Sometimes you make the play, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you see guys make miraculous one-handed catches, and sometimes you see guys get the ball thrown at their numbers and then they can't come up with it. So it's all part of the game. You either make the play or you don't, and the Patriots always seem to make the plays. They always seem to be in the right position, and they always make the right plays. They're smart, and this is just greatness right here that we're watching, Chris America. You know, the America kind of hates on the Patriots because we're tired of seeing the same old thing. But what we're witnessing here is some of the greatest football ever to be played in the NFL. We're watching the greatest coach, or arguably the greatest coach of all time, in Bill Belichick, and the greatest quarterback, the GOAT, Tom Brady, playing. And we're seeing what the two of them together can achieve. And 6 Super Bowls between the two of them, 9 Super Bowl appearances. I mean, this is just something that is unheard of. It's unfathomable, but we're watching it right in front of us. And sometimes it's nice to just sit back, watch the greatness, and just enjoy it for what it is. And I think that's what we did last night. Even though you and I, we weren't favoring either team, I don't believe. I think we were pretty neutral guys. And I think most of America was. Rams don't have a huge following, and a lot of people dislike the Patriots. But you go into this game and say, I'm going to watch greatness, and that's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick doing their thing.
And it was a special moment afterwards, too, Loudbeard, seeing Tom Brady emotional, hugging. Like you had Rams players fighting through all the media and stuff to give Tom Brady a hug, a congratulations. And it was good to see that. And then you saw, Gronk and Edelman and Robert Kraft. They're all fighting through the media. It was an insane sight to see it right after the game where Tracy Wolfson's trying to get an interview with Tom and the just all of the craziness that surrounded Tom Brady. I almost at one point said, man, can we get like NFL security to kind of come around and back these people up a little bit just so this man can have some space? But yeah, Loudbeard, it was a great moment. It was a good Super Bowl in the end. I think we wanted more, but we didn't. But all in all, it was a great Super Bowl. But what wasn't great, Loudbeard, was the commercials. I had compared the commercials to opening up Christmas presents, and this was the most disappointing Christmas present of all time, Loudbeard. We did a draft back at Christmas, worst Christmas gifts, and I drafted socks. You had mentioned, hey, man, socks aren't that bad. Now that I'm an old man or a young man if you're an NFL coach, I like to get socks from time to time. But, Loudbeard, this was like getting nothing but socks on Christmas, these commercials.
Nothing but socks, huh?
Nothing but socks and underwear. There was the one commercial that I thought was gave me a little bit of a chuckle was the Pringles commercial where they're talking to the smart speaker and it was talking about how it was so sad because it can't taste Pringles. And they're like, okay, cool, play Funky Town. That was the only one that gave me the chuckle. That was the one where you're like, oh, this is a nice brand of socks. And then the rest is like, okay, more socks, nothing but socks. It was just, man, advertising companies took a big L last night.
See, I like the NFL commercial. That was my favorite commercial out of all of them.
See, I missed that one because I stopped opening presents. Like once commercial breaks came on, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get chips. I'm gonna go use the restroom. I honestly, by the second quarter, I just didn't care. I was so deflated by how bad the commercials were this year.
Well, that's your opinion, but I love the one NFL commercial. The other ones, yes, I would agree that they're disappointing, but the NFL 100 commercial, it pictures kind of an awards ceremony. They're saying, okay, we're going to do the NFL awards. You see a lot of the big names of the NFL, and then you see Marshawn Lynch sitting there, and there's a cake with a big football on top. Marshawn Lynch reaches back to get a little bit of a taste of the cake, and he falls into the cake, and the football bounces down and rolls on the floor. And all of a sudden, it's a complete melee, and you see every big-time NFL player that you could ever think of going for the ball. And you see Joe Montana throwing it to Jerry Rice. You see Ed Reed tackling different guys. You see Peyton Manning. I mean, it was one of the funnest commercials for the entire Super Bowl. To me, that was a feel-good because it reminded me of the different generations of NFL, and everybody was having fun with it. To me, you got to go back and watch that commercial, Chris America. It was a lot of fun. I'm sure you'll see it again. I'm sure it'll be on some sort of sports TV or sports network. But you got to watch that. That to me, that was by far my favorite commercial out of the whole night. So I'm going to give that one my 2 Loudbeards thumbs up. That's
all right, I'll have to check that one out, and I definitely take your word for it. But Loudbeard, you got to agree, man. The rest, there were so many times where I just looked over to people next to me and like, that was just, like, I feel dumber just for watching that commercial. I mean, we started off with some weird alcohol beverage where mermaids are pitching the alcohol beverage to actual sharks, and they were trying to make a play on Shark Tank, and it was just like, it just didn't hit, man. Like, and it was just one after another where I just felt more dumb for watching the commercials. It wasn't funny. It was just, maybe they were just trying too hard. I don't know what it was, Loudbeard.
Maybe it's your expectation theory. This is the problem. We've gotten into the
true.
Super Bowl, and all of a sudden, our expectations are that every commercial needs to be big time. I mean, they're paying bazillions of dollars to get their advertising out to the millions of listeners and viewers and watchers. You would think that they would put a little bit more effort into it, but sometimes they just don't all hit. I mean, a few of them were trying to be funny. There was the Close Talker commercial. I think Luke Wilson was the actor in it.
Yeah.
Okay, it was okay. It wasn't terrible. That one was okay.
And then the Stella Artois commercial where they had the Sex and the City lady,
yep.
And then the dude comes in, and they had the Dos Equis guy, which I thought that one was it gave me a chuckle. That one I'll give it. That one was pretty funny, just because of who they brought in to bring it in, and it was a cool idea. But yeah, the
It
rest
got better towards the end. I felt like the first quarter and a half, maybe first 2 quarters were just awful. And then as soon as I saw that NFL 100 commercial, I saw 2 or 3 other commercials that were okay. But they saved those kind of more towards the end. I don't know if that was intentional or how that operated. But yeah, the first half of the game, there were some super duds, man. There were some commercials out there that I don't even know why these advertisers would put out there. And you said the mermaid one. That one was a little weird. Spike Seltzer, something or another company was trying to be funny, but yeah, that one missed. I'm trying to think what other ones out there, but like you had the M&Ms. I think I'm kind of over the M&Ms. Are you over the M&M guys? I mean,
Yeah,
I feel like we've played them out.
It does feel like they need to kind of go in a different direction with it. I don't know what direction that is, but I mean, maybe you make them go away for a while, then you bring them back. So you're like, oh man, it's the M&M guys. I haven't seen them in forever. But Loudbeard, before we move on to commercial break, we're going to move on to other topics surrounding football and everything else. I want to talk about the halftime show. A lot of people complained about the halftime show, and I think we as sports fans need to realize that the halftime show is not for us. The halftime show isn't put on for football fans and football lovers and sports fans. It's put on for everybody else, is it not?
Yeah, it's for the masses. The Super Bowl brings in a lot of non-football fans, brings in a lot of just different types of people. The football watchers are going to watch the football game no matter what, but the Super Bowl halftime show and a lot of times the Super Bowl commercials are for everybody else. That's what people get into. That's what makes this a worldwide phenomenon where you're watching, millions and millions of people are watching this. So the halftime show itself, it gets put out there so the non-football fan who's watching the game can really get into it. And I thought it hit where it needed to hit last night.
I thought it was, for what it was, I thought it was a great, fun halftime show. Everybody complained when they're like, oh, Maroon 5's coming. Look, man, Maroon 5 is one of the most popular bands of all time. I could probably play you 20 Maroon 5 songs and you know every single one of them. They just have hit after hit after hit. Maybe that's not your music style, but again, you're not the audience they're going for. People are like, oh, they need to play Metallica for the halftime show, which Metallica is great. I love me some Metallica. Enter Sandman, rock on. But you're not going to get many people to want to tune in to watch Metallica. That is a niche band. It is a great band. It's one of the best bands of all time. But the Super Bowl is not for that crowd. The Super Bowl is for the teenagers and the women and the guys that just love pop music and just that whole world that exists outside of sports, the sports world, the machismo world, And the only thing that I didn't like about the show or the halftime show was the SpongeBob thing was kind of weird. I didn't get where SpongeBob came in. I did think that
I got a little chuckle out of SpongeBob.
Did you?
Like, SpongeBob, yeah.
I thought it was just
going
kind
on
of.
here?
I mean, I did get a chuckle out of it, but it was just kind of like, how does this fit? Like, how does this get in? And then they had the asteroid thing. I thought the asteroid thing was kind of cool. And then the rapper, I mean, he had good music. I thought it was great.
Travis
I just
Scott.
didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know how it flowed with Maroon's 5 sound. But then I did love that Outkast came out. I was wondering where Andre 3000 was. Unless he was there, he just has a completely different look now, and I can't recognize him anymore.
No, well, they promoted it as just Big Boy because
Okay.
not Outkast, because I don't think Andre 3000 signed up for this. There's a lot of people that are not interested in playing the Super Bowl halftime show for their own personal reasons.
Which is fine.
Yep.
But yeah, so I thought the show worked, and as soon as Mr. Levine started taking off one item of clothing after another. Once again, that's not for me and you, Loudbeard. That's not why he's there. He's there for every single man and woman who likes seeing that kind of thing. And all the ladies at my Super Bowl party last night, Loudbeard, let me tell you, they kept saying, "Can he just take off his shirt, his jacket? Oh, he's down to his tank top. Can you take that tank top off?" And he appeased every single one of them.
Yeah. He did what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to be the eye candy for the Super Bowl halftime show, and there are some people out there in the world that really enjoyed that.
Now, Loudbeard, I have to ask. You have a few tattoos on you. You're solid with them. Are you now going to get a Maryland tattoo across your top of your abs? Now that you've been on your New Year's resolution, you've been working out a little bit.
Not
You've
at
been getting
all.
in shape,
I was going to
Loudbeard.
get a California one just so I could look like Adam Levine when
Just
I take
so
my
you
shirt off.
California.
Basically identical twins, him and I. That's kind of the gist there, Chris America. I do want to mention on the Travis Scott part, the only thing I didn't like is they bleeped out a couple parts. I was like, did the sound stop? Oh, he must have just said something inappropriate and they bleeped him out. You had that on your TV also, I'm guessing, right?
I think so. I was kind of like half paying attention, half talking during the halftime show, so I didn't really
you were
notice
talking.
that.
Oh, sports talk radio guy talking during sports.
Yeah. Well,
Big
that wasn't
shocker.
sports. That was music.
But it's a halftime show for a sports event, so I would consider that
that's
sports.
True. Okay. Fair point. Yeah, no, Loudbeard, I didn't catch that, but I mean, do you kind of like admonish him when he gets off stage? Like, I feel like they have to tell him, like, look, we see that these are your lyrics. Why don't you change this word for that word? And here's your $1 million or whatever we're paying you to go perform.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what the deal was there. I was a little surprised. I'm like, they're just completely bleeping out these parts. And he probably said things that weren't scripted that he kind of went off a little bit on. I couldn't tell. I didn't even understand what he was saying. It was a fun show, though. He was very entertaining.
Yeah,
I actually thought all three of them were entertaining, both Adam Levine, Travis Scott, and Big Boy. It was a great halftime performance. I know there's always going to be the haters that throw shade on these things, but it was a lot of fun.
Yep. Well, Loudbeard, I think we've covered all the Super Bowl. Overall, I think most people were disappointed, and now it's Monday, the most unproductive Monday in the entire history of Mondays every single year. So on the other side of the break, Loudbeard, I'm going to get us going again. I'm going to get us pumped. I got some good Monday motivation. I'm bringing it back for Super Bowl Monday. Let's get to it. But first, a word from our sponsors.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Ah, 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-Ounce Sports Radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb.
Ring Central features all-in-one phone, messaging, and video conferencing. It's easy to use with unparalleled security. Ring Central simplifies things so you can grow. Call Ring Central to speak with a representative about a price for your growing business at 877-779-3860. Again, that's 877-779-3860.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
We want want to thank all of those listeners out there for listening in. Welcome back. Once again, you are listening to Scout Team Radio. I'm Loudbeard. He's Chris America. We bring it to you hot and live like we do each and every AM, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m., and again at 11 a.m. on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. We're also being simulcasted and podcasted and all that fun stuff on the Barn Burner Network. If you're listening into the Barn Burner Network, we want to thank you for checking us out there. And if you want to catch any of the old episodes, or if you are not able to catch live episodes each and every day, you can go back and hit up our podcast. It's on our website, scoutteamradio.com. It's also available if you want to check it out on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts. Make sure you subscribe and rate us. We would enjoy that. Thank you for that. And lastly, if you want to get social, Chris America, if you want to get social, you can always hit us up on @Scout Team Radio on Twitter. We like to read tweets on air. We want to interact with our listeners. Make sure you hit us up. We'd love to talk about what you want to talk about, because there's plenty to talk about in the world. But right now, Chris America, I'm telling you, man, I'm a little sluggish today. I'm having a little bit of that Super Bowl hangover, and I don't know what the cure is. I don't know if it's some more cowbell or what, but can you help me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, Loudbeard, I can help you with that. But first, I want to give a little shout out. You mentioned all the ways that you can listen. You can also listen on the TuneIn app to us live. Just search for 12-Ounce Sports Radio there if you have the TuneIn app, and you can listen to us live like our super fan Nicholas is doing right now. And he also tweeted in, wanted to let us know that the cake commercial, I don't remember that one, Loudbeard. Do you remember a cake commercial? Oh, he's saying that the NFL commercial cake, right? I think he's agreeing with you, Loudbeard.
Of course he is. Of course he is. That was the best commercial all night, man.
So the
Come
fans
on,
agree
man.
with you. The fans agree with you. So I'm going to have to check this commercial out. Maybe Superfan Nicholas can show me where that commercial is, and we can enjoy that together. But Loudbeard, it is Motivation Monday time, and there is nobody who motivates me more than UCF legend Shaquem Griffin. Is that an overstatement, Loudbeard?
No, that's not an overstatement. That guy, there's nobody more motivational than him, or I shouldn't say nobody. There's very few people in the world that are as motivational as Shaquem Griffin.
Now, this is a acceptance speech for an award. The tweet doesn't say what the award is, so maybe you have an idea of what it is. I'm assuming it's probably a motivational award or inspirational award or one of those character type awards. So here is his speech to help get us motivated on this Monday.
Nothing comes easy. That's what my dad always said to me and my brother. I am truly humbled and truly honored to be here today amongst so many great people. You know what? I wrote a speech. I don't want to say that speech. I'm honored to be here amongst you guys because I never thought I'd be here. You know, just seeing this, being around you guys, it's amazing. You know, growing up as a child, being told what I couldn't do, you know what I'm saying, it can weigh heavy on your heart. But I had family, I had my brothers, I had those around me to keep my head straight, to keep my hopes high. And now I can truly say I'm blessed and I'm honored to be in front of you. And I want to say thank you to the Seahawks for giving me an opportunity to be here. Thank you to the NFL organization. And the message I want to give today is, for those of you who have dreams, aspirations to be great in life, do not let negativity dictate who you're going to become. Because every day you wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth and you get your face together and you getting ready for your day, there's only one person you're going to see, and that's yourself. I can't be there to tell you that you can't do something right. You have every single right, every single choice to live your life in a positive way. We don't worry about negativity because we're too positive to worry about that. Thank you.
Yes, Loudbeard, don't let the negativity of Tom Brady winning another Super Bowl for you Patriot haters. Don't let that negativity get your Monday down. Go ahead and brush your teeth, put your face on, because the only person who can choose to have a positive Monday today, like Shaquem Griffin says, is you. Don't let the negativity of bad commercials get you down, Loudbeard, because you have the right to choose to be positive, Loudbeard. And he thanked all of the people in his life that kept his head straight and kept him focused on his dream. And Loudbeard, I'm going to say right now, I'm going to get a little all touchy, bromancy, emotional on you, buddy, but I got to say thank you for being there for me. Thank you for being a co-host of this great show, and we are going to do great things with Scout Team Radio, and I couldn't be prouder to have a better bro than you, buddy.
Oh, that's so sweet, man. You got to keep that positivity rolling. I love it. You know, Shaquem Griffin, being a guy from UCF and us being based out of Orlando, we've got to see a lot of his story from when he was in college and kind of moving up the ranks. And just to see where he's at today and hearing that story, man, that was awesome. And, you know, here at Scout Team Radio, we're looking to get to that next level. We're looking to grow our show and to become bigger and better. And when you look at a guy like Shaquem Griffin, you say, all right, he wakes up in the morning, he looks in the mirror, and he says, it's just me, and I'm going to be positive. I don't need to hear all the haters out there. I don't need to hear the negativity. I don't need to hear the other people in my life saying what you can't do or what you're not able to do or what you'll never do. All I care about is my close circle of friends and family that sits there and tells me, you can do this. He was saying his brother and his dad were a big part of that. For us, Chris America, you and I, we're going to do this. Shaquem Griffin did it. It's Motivational Monday. We're taking this all the way. Man, I feel motivated. Listeners, I hope you are motivated too. Welcome back to the work week. It's Monday, and we're going to be positive this week.
Yeah, Loudbeard, I've had people look at me and they say, you don't have a beard. You can't be a good co-host. But I say nay. I can be a shaveless wonder and a great co-host to the Loudbeard, and couldn't be happier to do it. I'm excited. I'm motivated to keep on going through this Monday. So, Loudbeard, let's continue on with the show. Let's continue on with other stories that happened over the weekend, and that wasn't the only award given out this weekend, was it?
No, there was quite a few awards at the NBA Awards Banquet, which happened over the weekend. And there's one in particular that I feel like may not have been given if they knew what happened in the Super Bowl, and that would be the Courtyard Unstoppable Performance of the Year by Jared Goff. That was not for the Super Bowl. That was given before the Super Bowl. So if anybody has any wonder why he received the Unstoppable Performance of the Year, it's because it was given before the Super Bowl where he was stopped and in a very stoppable way.
Yeah, Bill Belichick heard that and said, hold my beer.
Pretty much. Some of the other just notables, I'll go down this list pretty quickly, and then we'll finish with the top award of the evening. But comeback player of the year, Andrew Luck. No argument there. Andrew Luck, well deserving of that, coming off of that injury. We never knew if he would be back to his same self, and he had an amazing year. Coach of the year, Matt Nagy from the Bears. Good award here. This could have gone to several different coaches, but the Bears were one of those teams that outperformed their expectations by a lot. So congratulations to him. Now, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Darius Leonard, the man with the most tackles in the league, well-deserving there. But on the Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think there was a little controversy here. It was really between Baker and Barkley, right? And Saquon ends up winning this award over Baker Mayfield. I would say that the city of Cleveland probably has, I guess, some distaste for who won this award, because I saw a lot of hate out there, a lot of people saying, oh, Baker should have won this. Look what he did with this Cleveland team and really rose them to the top. But when you look at stats, when you look at what this guy Saquon Barkley did this season, it was pretty phenomenal. So he was well deserving of the award, but it didn't really translate into extra wins for his team. So that's where I can understand the Baker side of it, where Baker should have won it. What do you think, Chris America? Would you have voted for Saquon Barkley or Baker Mayfield as Offensive Rookie of the Year?
No, I was all team Baker Mayfield winning it. We had mentioned that way back in the day when we were talking about Rookie of the Years, and, it should have gone to Baker, but I get the Saquon Barkley thing, and it was sort of a self-fulfilled prophecy. Everybody gave, Saquon Barkley the greatest of all time, generational player tag, and he, for the most part, lived up to expectations. Now, I think he's a great player. I would love to have him on my team. He was great for my fantasy football team this year. But to me, he's just the same as Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara and Le'Veon Bell. Like, he is not distancing himself from those guys. But being mentioned in the same breath of those guys makes you a really good running back. And, I'm not going to say he doesn't deserve the Rookie of the Year either. It was one of those where one of them had to win it. And if one won it and the other one didn't, I could say I can make an argument for the other guy, but the one guy was deserving, and Saquon Barkley is deserving of Rookie of the Year, but I do think Baker Mayfield had to overcome more, and just the fact that you get the Cleveland Browns to win. What did they finish off with? 5 wins? I feel like 5 or 6. Just getting that done is a miracle in and of itself.
That is a miracle, Chris America, and you're right. It wouldn't have been a loser in this no matter what. I mean, both of these guys had phenomenal years. Baker Mayfield has a great career ahead of him in Cleveland. He's done great things for that city, but whoever won it was well-deserving, and Saquon Barkley was well-deserving. Now, I do have to mention, this is a little side note. We received a tweet on Twitter right at us on at Scout Team Radio. Yes, Thelonious Monk tweets in, at Chris Scout Team, real men have beards. Okay, well, just sharing that with you.
See, Loudbeard, that's the kind of negativity that I just brush aside, and I just keep going on with the show. Just the way that the NFL MVP brushed aside defenses this year. Just the way that I brushed aside criticism when week 1, Loudbeard. I wish I could have taken the time to go back to find that week 1. Maybe I'll do that today. I'm off today. Maybe I'll find that clip where I said in week 1, on a Monday after week 1 was over, that Patrick LeVon Mahomes II would win the MVP, Loudbeard. I called that shot all the way back then, and there were several times where people would say, oh, don't just wait till defenses figure him out. He's not that great. Like, he's overrated. People are just recency biased. And I said, nay, sir. This is one of the best quarterbacks that we've seen in a long time coming out of the Big 12, coming out of college. And Andy Reid knew what he was doing when he traded up for that number 10 pick in the 2016 draft. And it's paid dividends, and he is now the league MVP, and I think well-deserved, Loudbeard.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. And I look back throughout the season, and I think I was sitting there trying to find another guy to win it so that you would be wrong. And you did. You, from week 1, you were all on the Patrick Mahomes train. You rode that train all the way through the entire season, and it paid off big dividends for you. I wish you would have put money on that because you probably could have made a pretty penny. But you didn't. But you did say it, so we'll go with that. Now, I was one of those people throughout the year that said, okay, well, maybe at this point in the season, it should be Phillip Rivers. And then I moved on, well, maybe it would be Drew Brees. And Todd Gurley was hot towards the middle of the season. Maybe it's Todd Gurley. But the one constant through that whole ordeal was Patrick Mahomes was always in that conversation. And the last 3 to 4 weeks of the season, he just separated himself from the rest of the pack. Drew Brees had some struggles late in the season. Otherwise, he would have been in that conversation. But at the very end of the season, I had zero doubt that Patrick Mahomes was going to win this award, and that's what he did. He won this award, and he deserved it, and he was by far the best player offensively or defensively this entire season. So he was the most valuable player at the most valuable position. So Patrick Mahomes was well-deserving of this award, and Chris America, good for you, sir. You got one right. Just one, but you got one right.
Yes, Loudbeard. Loudbeard, it's just the way the kid plays, and what you want to look for in a quarterback is, can he make every single throw, the back shoulder fade? Can he put the ball low when he needs to put the ball low? Can he put the ball behind the receiver when he needs to put the ball behind the receiver? And Patrick Mahomes does that, and then he throws left-handed passes. He throws sidearm passes. He throws no-look passes. Those are all the things that, lucky quarterbacks make. You got to make those throws, and you got to make all the generic throws that every quarterback needs to make, the fade route, those kind of things. And you know what? We're still getting negativity from this Thelonious Monk. It would be a wonder if he could jump on the mic and just talk, Loudbeard. But the Golden Ghost still wants to beat Ghost, but wants to be on Twitter. He says Mahomes got figured out. Okay, sure. Instead of throwing for 500 yards a game, he went down to 350 yards a game, Loudbeard. That's Mahomes' level of getting figured out, to where he got figured out against the Patriots in the first half, and then the second half, Mahomes sliced up that defense and scored, 31 points in the second half of that football game, if I'm not mistaken?
I think that sounds about right.
Yep, it was 14-0. at halftime, and then it was 31-37 at the end of that football game in overtime. So, yeah, he got figured out for one half. And then like all the great NFL quarterbacks do, like we talked about Tom Brady getting, quote-unquote, figured out by the Rams defense yesterday, they eventually figure out the defense that figured them out, and they counteract with greatness. And for those of you that are going to be waiting for the Mahomes slip-up or the Mahomes, I guess this would be the junior year slip-up that he's going to have, it's not coming. You can wait and wait and wait, just like you're waiting and waiting for Tom Brady to go retire and fall off the edge. People have been waiting for that for 5 years. Just keep on waiting because it's not coming.
And even if he takes a small step back, he's still going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I expect great things out of Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to have that sophomore slump that we are seeing some people out there predicting. I don't think that's going to happen. Also on the awards, just a side note too, Aaron Donald won Defensive Player of the Year. No questions there. I think he deserved that. He was by far the most disruptive force on the defensive line all year. Most sacks in the league. Guy was unbelievable. But Mahomes, MVP, well-deserved. Chris America, we're down to the last 5 minutes of the show. Now, I know one of our listeners, Thelonious Monk, who is tweeting at us, he's been a longtime listener of the show. And you and I both know that his loyalty lies with the Florida State Seminoles on the college football side. Did they have any little small news stories that we just want to mention quickly on the air before we finish the show up?
Well, I mean, he's talking about how Mahomes couldn't beat the Patriots. Yeah, well, neither could anybody else in the playoffs. Neither could anybody else the last 18 years for the most part. I mean, look, you're going against the greatest franchise of all time, against the greatest coach of all time, and against the greatest quarterback of all time. So if failing against the Patriots makes you a bad quarterback, then I guess the rest of the NFL has just been awful, including one Aaron Rodgers, who can't seem to even make the playoffs with his $30 million contract a year. And look, I mean, if you want to throw shade at Mahomes for not beating the Patriots, then so be it. But I guess that makes the rest of the league awful as well, including Thelonious Monk's Aaron Rodgers. Loudbeard, we wanted to get to another young quarterback who's coming into the league, Kyler Murray. We were going to do some thinkers and stinkers with that. He had an interesting weekend on Media Row, including one Dan Patrick interview, but we'll save that for tomorrow because I want to give a full-on thought process behind what he's doing and some of these thinker and stinker reactions to what Kyler Murray said, or actually what he didn't say. Loudbeard, did you have a chance to look at this interview?
Yeah, I did. Hey, on a side note, you were getting really worked up on this Thelonious Monk tweets, man. I said to you, Thelonious Monk loves a small college football team known as the Florida State Seminoles. Did they have any side news? And you started talking about what his tweets were saying.
I know. Listen, don't come at my boy Mahomes. I'm the number one Mahomie.
Way too emotional.
I'm the number one Mahomie here. But if you want to,
man, he's just a hater. That's when you know you're making it big time. When you got a hater sitting here tweeting at you. But anyway, I was just gonna say that DeAndre kicked off the Seminoles. Just got to mention that for you, Thelonious Monk. But yes, I did watch the Kyler Murray interview. I actually saw a couple different Kyler Murray interviews, and he was very awkward because everybody asks him, are you going to play football or baseball? That's the one question he got asked by every media outlet all over football or Media Row there at the Super Bowl. And especially on the Dan Patrick one, he just kind of gave Dan the silent treatment. Dan's trying to make the radio work. He's like, we're on radio. I need to hear something. So are you going to play football or baseball?
Yeah, we'll play the clip tomorrow morning. We'll play the clip tomorrow morning.
But yeah,
we'll get
crazy.
Your reaction. We'll get Twitter's reaction. We'll do some thinkers and stinkers. But yes, I did kind of breeze over the fact that FSU quarterback DeAndre Francois, who got in trouble for the 5th or 6th time, has been kicked off the team. And man, Florida State's future didn't seem bright before. I don't know how it seems bright now. I don't know who they're bringing in. I got to check their recruiting because last I checked, they still only had 2 or 3 offensive linemen commit to the class, and they need more than that. Now that their star quarterback is off the team, boy, Willie Taggart, Slick Willie, in for a long ride here, I think. Don't you think so, Loudbeard?
He is in for a long ride. He's no Bill Belichick, that's for certain.
No, I don't even know if he's a Lane Kiffin.
Oh, riding that lane train this
Riding
morning.
the lane train this morning. Right on out.
Woo!
That was
Thank you all for
a
listening in. We appreciate all of our listeners out there. Check us out. Don't forget to hit our website, scoutteamradio.com, for all of our latest podcasts.
subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Loudbeard. That Lane Kiffin reference was a Tim Tebow home run.